Welcome to Veteran Resource Podcast, where you will meet nonprofit organizations focused on improving the lives of veterans and their family members. Here is your host, Jeremy Paris.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of the Veteran Resource Podcast. As you can tell, I got some new intro music. This is Javier and the Innocent Sons, and I will tell you all about the song and the band at the end of the podcast, and you'll actually be able to hear the whole song without me talking over it like I'm doing right now. Today on the podcast, I have the delightful Emily Rich with Operation Gratitude. She's going to tell you all about that. Before we get into it, though, I'm going to go over a couple of reviews for you. Chris at The Journey of Success says, "Outstanding resource for veterans. I am so appreciative of this podcast, Jeremy. I, too, am an Army veteran who transitioned out recently. I love the concept of the show and how you and your guests are reaching out to veterans and offering the multitude of wonderful resources out there. I really enjoyed your Maureen Stewart episode. Keep up the great work." And Kay Lathrop says, "Stepping up to meet a real need. Fantastic resource coming online here for our men and women who served. Looking forward to learning a lot about all of the amazing people, organizations who serve them now. Way to meet an obvious need, Jeremy. You have an awesome presence, perfect for storytelling, hosting, and interviewing. Keep it up." And Me Also Too, with 8 more twos on there, says, "Great resource. Off to a great start. The information is interesting and presented well. Keep up the great work, and the audio quality is outstanding. Very professional." Thank you so much for all of the reviews, and if you haven't left a review yet, you can go to veteranpodcast.com/iTunes and leave your review, and I'll be reading it on a future episode. All right, back to the interview. Emily Rich is Director of National Development for Operation Gratitude, a nonprofit organization that annually sends 150,000 plus care packages to new recruits, veterans, first responders, wounded warriors, caregivers, and to individually named U.S. service members deployed overseas. Since its inception in 2003, Operation Gratitude has shipped more than 1.2 million care packages. Emily is responsible for Operation Gratitude's nationwide campaigns, including corporate partnerships, cause marketing, large-scale employee volunteerism, sports marketing, and annual support. Emily has devoted her professional life to nonprofit organizations. In addition to Operation Gratitude, she has served in leadership positions with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Muscular Dystrophy Association, Foundation Fighting Blindness, and Fund for the Public Interest Research Group. In the first 6 years of her career in nonprofit development, Emily has raised over $6 million for nonprofit organizations. Emily graduated from the University of Colorado at Boulder in 2009 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in communication. She is a member of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, Valley Industry and Commerce Association, and the National Association of Professional Women. All right, let's jump right into the interview with Emily. Emily, welcome to the Veteran Resource Podcast. How you doing today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited to hear all about Operation Gratitude. Can you give us just a brief overview of what Operation Gratitude is?
Absolutely. So Operation Gratitude seeks to lift the spirits and meet the evolving needs of our active duty and veteran communities, and also to provide volunteer opportunities for all Americans across the U.S. to express their appreciation to members of our military. We send about 150,000 care packages annually filled with food, hygiene products, entertainment and handmade items, and letters of support to all members of our military deployed and here at home.
Excellent. And I want to find out a lot more about Operation Gratitude. But before I do, I wanted to get a little bit of background on you.
Oh, sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, I've been volunteering with the organization for almost a decade now, for about 8 or 9 years. I started volunteering with them, with my family, back when I was in college. The founder is actually a family friend of ours and had started this organization pretty much in her living room and grew it to what it is today. And our family just went there to help pack care packages for the troops. And at the time, my youngest brother, Stephen, was very interested in joining the military, and he actually wound up enlisting in the Marines while we were in the process of volunteering with Operation Gratitude. So we have actually been on both sides of the Operation Gratitude assembly line, so to speak, where I've been able to personally pack care packages for both soldiers, Marines, airmen, and anyone serving in the military, for people who I don't know, but also for someone who is very near and dear to my heart, for my very own brother. So I know the impact that it has on everyone. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I got involved with Operation Gratitude, and I've been working in nonprofits ever since I graduated from college, and I came to Operation Gratitude just about 6 months ago in the formal sense, and I have loved every second of it. It's just incredible. It's my all-time favorite organization. I can say that with 100% certainty.
Excellent. And so I take it that your brother Stephen, he received some of your care packages when he was over there.
He did. He's actually been the recipient of 2 care packages from Operation Gratitude. He's been on 2 separate deployments.
Excellent. I'm sure that he was passing the word around.
He was indeed. He was indeed. So when his whole unit received the packages, he was very excited about it. Very excited.
That's really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the organization. Now, one of the first things I noticed when I went to the website to do my research, as I always do before an interview, is I went over to the tab where you can get involved. And I clicked that expecting it to be a button that's going to take me to a page that tells me, here is the 1 or 2 ways that you can get involved.
Sure.
Instead, it is a drop down of just a slew of different options that you have to get involved with this organization. And I would love for you to tell us about some of those ways that people can get involved.
Absolutely. So that's such a great question, too. One of the biggest things that Operation Gratitude prides itself on is that our mission really is twofold. First and foremost, to put a smile on our troops' faces and to let them know that someone back home is thinking of them. But the second part of that mission, which is just as important, if not sometimes more important, is to provide that platform for Americans all across the country with the ability to say thank you. And we do that in all of these different ways. And like you said, on that Get Involved drop-down menu, there are tons of ways to get involved. There are tons of campaigns that you're able to run, things like a letter writing campaign. You can encourage your friends and your family, your schools, your coworkers to write letters to the troops. We have links on each of these drop-down menus with flyers that will tell you what to write, what not to write, where to send the letters to. We make it very easy. But we put a handwritten letter, actually a few handwritten letters, into each and every care package that we send to our troops. And this is such a crucial part of the care package because it truly does give our troops a sense of home. And it shows them that someone back home is thinking of them personally. Each box that they receive has their name on the box. It is individualized. So when they open up those letters, they can really feel like someone back home is thinking about them. So letters are always, always something that we encourage people to get involved with, and it's very easy to do. We also have a recycle cell phone program where you can actually collect old cell phones. Everybody has an old cell phone lying around in their junk drawer somewhere.
At least one.
At least one. I know I had like easily 3 or 4 with all the iPhones that are being turned over these days. So every now and then we have people who will run cell phone drives where they collect old cell phones. And then you can send them into Operation Gratitude, and then we recycle them and turn them in, and it turns it into a donation, a direct donation to Operation Gratitude, which helps us send even more care packages to our troops overseas.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really great. And then, of course, we have our world famous Halloween candy drive, where actually Jimmy Kimmel even helped us promote our candy drive last year.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very exciting. He did a little plug for Operation Gratitude after the tell your kids you ate all of your Halloween candy. But yeah.
I love those, by the way.
Oh, right. They're hilarious. They're so hysterical. But what everyone does is around Halloween, of course, parents have so much candy left over and they don't necessarily want their kids on a 2-week sugar rush. So we encourage people to send their Halloween candy to Operation Gratitude, and we receive tons and tons of candy that we actually put into the care packages that we send to our troops overseas. And this is actually a wider mission that we are sort of pursuing with the candy. It's not just something sugary for our troops to eat. They also give candy and Beanie Babies that we put in these care packages to the kids in the villages. And on some occasions, these children have actually pointed out where IEDs or bombs have been hidden in the sand.
Oh, wow.
So this is actually, yes, it's actually a very life-saving part of the care packages. And of course, it's also there, if a soldier or Marine, it gets a little hungry or wants some sugar, it's also there for that as well. But they can also be used as a humanitarian mission as well.
Well, I have a daughter who turned 6 today, actually.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday to her.
Yeah, happy birthday, Aliciana.
Oh, happy birthday.
But I think that it would be something really cool for her as well to, instead of, like she collects all the candy and then when she's not looking, take half of it and send it off. I think it would be really cool to kind of, teach her about giving and helping out the troops and saying, hey, we're going to send some of this. Why don't you help pick out some of the candy that we're going to send over?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have schools all over the country who have gotten involved doing exactly that. We actually have an ambassador program now and a junior ambassador program, which Aliciana would be wonderful for.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the junior ambassadors do projects just like that all the time, where they encourage their classmates to get together, write letters to the troops, collect candy for the troops or Beanie Babies. And it's really a way to get involved in your community and to really get the conversation going about what Operation Gratitude does.
When you guys first started this, you were probably only sending out a small amount, but now you said in the beginning, you guys are sending out 150,000. Is that correct?
Yes. So we send 150,000 a year. We've sent to date over 1.2 million care packages.
That's incredible.
It is. It really
How many
is.
people do you guys have working for you? Is that mostly volunteers?
It is mostly volunteers. We have over 50,000 volunteers across the country. Here in California, on any given assembly day, we have anywhere between 300 and 400 people come to the armory to help pack the care packages. And on a typical assembly day, we'll turn over 10,000 care packages.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And we host them about once a month. But yes, you're absolutely right. We started out extremely small. Our founder, Carolyn Blaszczyk, this all started after 9/11. She felt driven to do her part in the war on terror. And at the time, she was a mother of 2 living in the suburbs of Southern California. And her first thought was actually to join the military. She actually called up her local recruiting office and attempted to join the military. And she quickly found out that she said it was the only time in her entire life she's ever been turned away from a job because she was too old. And she'll kill me for saying that. So then she decided to show her appreciation and support to the men and women in the military who would bear the brunt of the conflict. And she started volunteering at the military lounge at the Los Angeles airport. And one day in March of 2003, a soldier came into the facility and asked to meet with a chaplain, and there were none available at the time. So he spoke with Carolyn, and he proceeded to tell her that he was on leave from a war zone for his mother's funeral. His wife had left him, and his only child had died as an infant. So he had no one else in his life. Yeah, it's truly a traumatic story. And he said, I'm going back over there, and for the first time in my 20-year career, I don't think I'll make it back this time, but it really doesn't matter because no one would even care. And from that conversation, Carolyn began to realize that when the bullets are flying, it's critical for troops to know that someone at home cares about them as an individual. And so how could Carolyn show that she cared? And she thought back to when her kids were young and when they went away to sleepaway camp every summer, and she would write to them once a week and send them care packages with reminders of home. And she thought, of course, that's the answer. So she started to collect items, things like candy, books, magazines, DVDs, a copy of the United States Constitution, an American flag, little things that would remind them of home. And she started to send them to anyone that she knew who was deployed. And she would collect names and addresses from friends and family, anyone who knew someone who was deployed. So it started in her living room with 6 care packages, eventually grew to what it is now, where we function out of the Van Nuys Armory. And like I said, send over 150,000 care packages annually.
Well, I know when I was in the Army for 10 years, pre 9/11. And I know that when I was in basic training or advanced training, some of my friends would send me some packages, and my mom, of course, sent me a bunch of food that I would probably hardly ever see. I get a bunch of cookies, and of course, the drill sergeants aren't going to give them to me. But
exactly.
but they told me that they were delicious. But my friends, they sent me an envelope that was made out of a beer case, and inside it was just a letter, but it was a beer case that was made into this big envelope. And when the drill sergeant got it, I did so many push-ups for that. But,
oh my gosh, I'm sure.
But I was still really excited to get it, just knowing that, like you said, just knowing that I was being thought about back home.
Exactly. It truly is. It's definitely, it's a great feeling to have. And it's also, I think, a necessary one to know that someone back home is thinking of you.
So this started out with, we're going to send care packages to the troops, but it's gone way beyond that now. You send out care packages for children as well, correct?
We do. We actually send to a number of members of our military. So it's, of course, our primary mission is to send to deployed troops, people who are away from home. And then, of course, we send to veterans, to wounded warriors and their caregivers, to new recruits, and to first responders, and then, of course, to children of who have parents that are deployed.
That's great. And so each one of these packages is a little bit different. They're more specific to the audience, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So with our new recruit packages, these are packages that we send to individuals who have just graduated from a boot camp in any branch of the military. And actually inside each of these new recruit care packages, we actually include a custom Operation Gratitude Challenge coin that we ask the new recruit to give to a member of their family or support group who has supported them in their military career so far.
Oh, cool.
And it's also a way, it's a way to not only let that new recruit know that Operation Gratitude has their back, but it's also a way to tell the families of those new recruits, hey, we have their back and we also have your back too. This is going to be, sometimes a long road ahead for everyone involved, and we want you to know that you have our support. And then for our Battalion Buddy program, which is for kids of parents who are deployed, we actually have Battalion Buddies, which are stuffed animal bears. And these bears are handmade by volunteers all across the country. And we actually will deliver these bears to the kids when their parents are deployed so that they have something to hold on to when mommy or daddy is away for an extended period of time. And we've sent just over 100,000 of those, and they are just incredibly impactful to these kids.
Wow, 100,000 handmade bears. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of work.
It is. It certainly is.
One of the other things that caught my eye on the website was the Paracord survival bracelet.
Yes.
I've had one for years. And I also got one with Got Your Six. They had it when they first came out.
Yes. Great organization.
Yes, they are. But I saw that on the website, you guys are sending those out. So you need help with having people make those. Mm-hmm. And so people can help you by creating these Paracord survival bracelets and sending them to you to be used in the care packages.
Yes, 100%. So Paracord bracelets are very instrumental in our care packages. We put one into each care package that we send. And Paracord is the strongest rope that's issued by the military. And it can be used in a time of need. So if they need to tie something up or rig something down, And the filament inside of paracord can also sometimes be used as sutures. So in a time of need, it can be also life-saving. And we have a program where volunteers all across the country can actually, you can purchase paracord through us, through Operation Gratitude, for $2 a cord. And then we actually will send you the paracord and a video on how to make the paracord bracelet. And then you can send them back into us that we will include in our care packages. And it's 8 feet of paracord that is then woven into a bracelet that these men and women serving overseas can actually wear around their wrist so that it is with them in a time of need. And it is such an incredible program. We have received hundreds of thousands of paracord bracelets from all over the country. And they have just been so well received by everyone that gets one. We receive pictures all the time of soldiers and Marines and airmen and everyone who are able to wear their bracelets with pride. So
I think that's one of those things that I'm going to definitely have to do with my daughter. We do a different arts and crafts project every time that she's over here.
Oh, yeah.
And that would definitely be something that she would be into.
Absolutely. And especially now that summer is here, it's a great thing to suggest if your kids are going to summer camps or if they're, out from school and they need something to do and you don't necessarily want them sitting in front of a TV all day. Paracord bracelet making is a great way to keep the kids involved and engaged and to do something and also give them exactly what you were saying, that sense of doing something good for someone else.
And also for students, I saw that they could actually get community service hours for this.
They certainly can. Absolutely.
You get 1 hour of community service for every 5 bracelets that you donate.
Exactly. Yep. That's it.
That is something that my son, who's in college now, he was trying to find ways to get his community service hours a couple years ago. Had I known about this,
yes.
Had there been a podcast like mine out there a couple years ago.
If only. Oh my goodness. Yes. Well, absolutely. Have your son actually give us a call because we also have a university ambassador program where we're getting students on universities all across the country involved with Operation Gratitude. And they're doing things just like this. They're doing paracord bracelet making, hosting collection drives, hosting letter writing campaigns. USC just hosted a great letter writing campaign where they brought in over 400 letters for the troops, which was so fantastic. So shout out to them as well.
Will do. And as far as these letters go, do you have like specific guidelines or instructions for how you do a letter?
Great question. Yes, we do. On our website, if you go to that ever infamous Get Involved drop-down menu that you were talking about, there is actually a link for Write Letters. And on that link, if you click on that, there is actually a flyer that you can download that you can print out and send out to your family and friends or post up on a table for your letter writing campaigns. There's also a custom one for teachers. So if a teacher would like to do it in their classroom, we also have a special form or flyer for that as well.
Outstanding. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we're almost ready for the final 3 questions. But before I get into the final 3 questions, I wanted to find out about success stories. Everybody loves hearing success stories. Specifically, do you have any aside from your brother who went in and you knew personally, but any other stories that might be floating around your organization?
That is such a great question. We actually, on our website, one of the things we like to do is we like to have what we call a mail call. And we receive letters, hundreds of letters every single day from troops overseas and here at home who have received our care packages, thanking our volunteers for everything that they've done to help us pack these care packages. I love to go through these and read as many as I can because it truly brings it back home and really shows you what kind of impact you're making. And we actually just received a letter saying, thank you for my care package. It brightened my day. Just a little bit about me. I am currently serving with the 101st Sustainment Brigade. We are deployed to Africa, assisting the United States Agency of International Development and the people of Africa fight against Ebola. It truly is a gratifying experience. Again, I really appreciate your care package, as well as other soldiers who have received your packages. And then another one, our sailors received the care packages from your organization. On behalf of the crew, I wanted to say thank you to your volunteers for taking the time to send these care packages. The idea that our sailors are appreciated and supported by their country for serving honorably at sea resonates most when they receive reminders like these. So letters like this just truly bring it back home and show us that what we're doing really does matter and does make a difference in these people's lives.
Very cool. Love hearing those success stories.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of success stories, you have to tell me about the 1 millionth care package that was given.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's a wonderful video on our website about the 1 millionth care package that was given to a very, very deserving individual. In our milestone care packages, we like to include some things that are a little bit, more exciting and celebratory. And we actually had keys to a Jeep that were in this care package, and it was delivered by Carolyn, hand delivered by Carolyn to this individual, which was just a truly remarkable day.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's great. 1 million. That's a pretty big milestone.
It really was unbelievable. So it was on December 7th. We had so many different supporters there, elected officials and celebrities had shown up. A Ford F-150 pickup truck was donated by 5 Hour Energy. There was so much going on. And we also were truly honored because we were able to honor 6 World War II veterans, including Lieutenant Colonel Bob Friend, who's a Tuskegee Airman.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And B. Cohen, who's the oldest living female World War II veteran at 103 years old.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it truly was. So we did on that particular day, we had 2 assembly lines going, and we had 3,000 care packages in just 2 hours were done. And it was just extraordinary.
That is pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. It was truly remarkable.
Okay, before I get into the final 3 questions, Emily, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about as far as the organization is concerned?
We would love to encourage everybody to check out the website. It's www.operationgratitude.com. And if you're interested in becoming an ambassador for Operation Gratitude and spreading the word out to your community, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to talk to you.
Outstanding. And I will make sure that I put links to all of these things in the show notes. As far as I see that you have Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And
we do.
Yeah, so I will put links to everything in the show notes. So don't worry about that.
Great.
Now we're ready for the final 3.
Oh, gosh, the final 3 questions. Okay.
Are you ready, Emily?
I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
Okay. Who would you like to hear on a future episode of Veteran Resource Podcast?
There's actually a nonprofit organization that I just recently heard about called Operation Mend. And they are a nonprofit organization based out here in Los Angeles. And they are dedicated to dealing with issues with all kinds of military personnel coming out of the war. So mental, physical, emotional, any type of needs that they might have coming out of the war and dealing with the transition back into civilian life.
Yeah, there is a great need for that. So I'm definitely interested in reaching out to them.
Truly, absolutely.
Question number 2, what upcoming project has you fired up right now?
We are actually in the process of expanding our ambassador program, and that's really got me all fired up. So our ambassador program in our communities all across the country, and then our university ambassador program, getting more of the younger generations involved with Operation Gratitude and keeping the conversation of our military and their evolving needs at the forefront of the conversation.
Yeah, it sounds like really cool project.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, and the final question, this is the brain stretcher. If you woke up tomorrow and found out that somebody made an anonymous donation of $10 million to your organization, what would you do with the money?
Aside from cry tears of joy and jump up and down for a solid 5 months straight, I would... I mean, honestly, I would continue doing everything that we are doing. I would send as many care packages as we possibly could to every single member of our military as possible. We pride ourselves in having a very low overhead as a nonprofit because everything that we do goes toward our troops. So I truly think that that $10 million would go towards that.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much, Emily. This has been a really cool episode, and I found out a lot more about Operation Gratitude, and I'm hoping that the listeners learned so much more about Operation Gratitude as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
There are so many ways that you can get involved with this organization. Make sure you head over to the show notes at veteranpodcast.com/013, and I will have information and links to get you over to the website, and you can hit the drop-down menu like we talked about and see all of the different ways that you can get involved. I invite you to plug yourself into the organization. There are a lot of veterans out there who are deployed, and family members and children who would be really appreciative to have you doing these things and sending these things to them. So go ahead and head over to the show notes and get plugged into this organization. As promised, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Javier and the Innocent Sons. There's a great story that goes along with this. So I was stationed with Javier in Alaska back in 1998, I believe it was. He was my introduction into blues. Prior to that, I had only been listening to Metallica and grunge and things like that, and he kind of opened up my music world to start looking at other things other than only what I have known my whole life. And so he used to come over to my living room a couple times, and he brought with him this steel guitar. I believe, if I recall, he got it really cheap at a garage sale, and it was all rusted out. And he completely restored it himself, and it had a really cool sound to it. Javier is just so good, like you'll hear in a second. His voice really takes you back to the old style of blues. So Javier took me to a couple of blues shows at this little club in Anchorage so I could hear some other people playing. And like I said, it just opened up my world to accept something new musically than just what I had known before. And so I've kind of liked blues ever since. And recently I was listening to some blues. I think it was Muddy Waters. And I said, I wonder how Javier's doing. Let me look him up and see what I could find on him. I just happened to find him in the middle of a GoFundMe campaign for a new album. And this song is on that album. So I helped to fund the project. And just this week I received in the mail the new album. This song, Wartime, is one of the songs on there. And so I reached out to Javier after not talking to him forever. And it was great to reconnect and talk about what we had been doing over the years. But then he gave me permission to put this on the podcast. And so I'm going to have the whole song here so that you can hear it. And then also, if you want to hear more or get plugged in with what Javier and the Innocent Sons are doing, you can check out his website, javiermatos.music.com. That's JAVIERMATOS music.com. And you can also purchase the CD at cdbaby.com/CD/Javier the Innocent Sons. And I will make it super easy for you. Head over to the show notes at veteranpodcast.com/013. And I will have a link directly to Javier Matos Music and also to CD Baby where you can purchase the CD. And just so you know, this is not an affiliate link. I am not receiving any funds from Javier for sending people his way. I just think that his music is amazing. And for me, it opened the doors to blues, and it might do that for you as well. So give it a listen.
up a newspaper, I can read something about a war. Every time I pick up a newspaper, I can read something about a war. Lots of boys going overseas. Not all of them coming back home. Well, I'm going to the army. It's like Cheney said I should. He told my mama everything's gonna be alright. And every good boy would. Well, I'm going to the army. Just like Cheney said I should. I don't want you to worry, Mama. Yeah, he's a man of his way. Got my questionnaire, got my examination papers too. I don't want you to worry, Mama, because they say